Before I became an inmate, I worked a lot in zoos and aquariums and natural history museums. And as part of that work, I learned a lot about the AZA, the American Zoological Association. They are responsible for overseeing how people care for animals in captivity, and they have all sorts of guidelines and recommendations for how to care for an animal. Now, they recognize that a bat enclosure, for example, has different it needs to have different things than, say, a polar bear enclosure. And the AZA does a great job of identifying ways to enrich captivity so that animals are not stressed and so that the environment mimics their natural habitat. And so there's all sorts of requirements that if you want to house a certain kind of animal at your facility, you have to provide certain things for that animal through the AZA. Prisons don't have anything like that at all. Now, with that being said, I would like to differentiate between a prison and a detention center. A prison is meant for long-term holding, where a person has been sentenced to a specific amount of time as a punishment. And there are some regulations with prisons because it is a long-term care facility. There are certain medical requirements about doctors that have to be present at all times, or there's certain requirements about food and nutrition, basic guidelines like minimums that have to be set. Detention facilities, such as the one that your brother is at as a pre-sentencing detainee or a pre-trial detainee, doesn't have the same regulations. It's meant for short-term holding. And as such, it doesn't have the same programming requirements, medical care requirements, etc. And so when I learned that there was an executive order this week that was signed to open up an expanded facility in Guantanamo that would house 30,000 detainees, it caused some alarm. Because the largest prison in the United States is the Louisiana State Penitentiary, and it houses about 6,300 inmates. It's about 22 square miles, and it's huge at 6,300. The prison I was housed at, Utah State Prison, holds only a few thousand, and the women's side holds about 600. So to think about 30,000 people being housed at one facility is unconscionable. Not to mention that because it isn't a prison, it is a holding center, a detention facility. They're not bound to any of the bare minimum medical requirements, bare minimum housing requirements, safety, food, nutrition. So there's only one thing that this new Guantanamo facility is, and I can't even say it because I tried to upload a video using the phrase of what it was, and it's not allowed. So all I can tell you is it started in 1930s Germany, and the Guantanamo facility is precisely that.